Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself, Anne Welsh. Today we'll be talking about cybersecurity pain. This is an issue that affects so many people around the world. Technology has become something we use every day. You wake up, from the moment you wake up, the first thing you do is something technology. Getting around our daily lives now revolves around us having to use technology. Booking a doctor's appointment, getting money transfer, buying food, buying clothes, all of it is all revolves being money and technology. But one thing we don't really think about is the impact technology has on our lives. It has a massive impact to improve our lives as much as it has a massive impact to destroy our lives. My guest today will be telling us about the challenges she finds by people who are under the threat, helping to educate, especially the younger generation, the older generation, who have no idea about the cybersecurity threats. Let me tell you a little bit about her. My guest today is Confidence Staveley. She is a cybersecurity evangelist and an author. She's passionate about technology writing, cybersecurity, and literacy advocate. She's currently leveraging her social media platform, authority blogs, and weekly segments of tech radio shows. She co-authors all channels to educate the Nigerian population on issues that involves cybersecurity. We'll be talking to her about how she got started as a woman, because she's joining us all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. How does she believe that as a woman, this is something she wants to do? How she finds her joy, how she's overcome the pain and struggle of being a woman, the pain and struggle of being in the cybersecurity space, trying to help others to stay safe while online. Meet my wonderful guest, Confidence, as we share her story. Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to Painless Universal, conversation with myself, Anne Welsh. Today's conversation, a lot of you might be wondering, now, why am I having this conversation? What has this got to do with pain? But in today's world, anyone who is on the internet, everything is practically on the internet. My guest today is a Cybersecurity Woman of the Year. She won an award, and she's a woman. She'll be talking about the challenges of today modern technology, what challenges is bringing to us, how she's helping us deal with these challenges. More importantly, she's a woman. How does she overcome the challenges of being a woman in such a male-dominated industry to find her joy? Meet my amazing guest, Confidence, as I said, Confidence Staveley, as she shares her story. How are you?
Thank you so much, Anne. That's such a beautiful welcome.
Oh, you're welcome. I am truly amazed by you. When I look at your story, I can't believe, I say to myself, she's a woman. Well, what will make her to go into that avenue? There's so many things, especially in the part of the world where you are, where women are expected to stay home. And even if they're not expected to stay home, to go into that tech world is not something very understood. So we always let the men figure it out. But you have dominated this area, and not just dominated it, you're winning numerous awards out there. So people are recognizing you for your work. Before we get started, who are you, Confidence?
I'm first and foremost human. I like to say that word very strongly because I mean it. I'm a human, and I also like to describe myself as a relatable cybersecurity queen. Very strong with the relatable, and that's because that's exactly how I've carved a niche for myself. People generally see tech-related things as overwhelming, incomprehensible, very tough to understand, very tough to relate with. And then people feel powerless because of how this makes them feel. And so what I have done over time is I have leveraged my strengths, which is the ability to speak, the ability to teach people things, the ability to be a mix of both worlds, being very technical and also have very strong people skills. So I have blended both of them to be able to bring technology closer to the people who I believe really need it. People who really need to understand maybe certain, sections of it to make better their lives. People who need to understand, security, for example, to take actionable steps to protect themselves. So I am a cybersecurity awareness evangelist also. And again, just piggybacking on the fact that I am very relatable. I find that I'm able to take security concepts, I'm able to take cybersecurity best practices and break them down and communicate them to the layman. So from the layman to just about anyone, who has access to technology. And so I think a lot of this describes me as well. And then personally, I'm a wife and also a mom. I mean, I take great pride in that. I'm a daughter to someone, or some people. I'm a sister as well. And I also take pride in all of that as well. So yeah, in a nutshell.
Confidence, that's amazing. You are everything, you're lots of things, but when you look at your background, because one of the things you did say is that you're also a mother, your sister, I mean, you are, your family, you have that family background. When you look there and you look at your life growing up, what gave you that hope and that inspiration that this is something I can do? This is a sector of the market that I want to go into. Was it someone in your family in there? What led you on this path?
I mean, it's a very interesting story. Much so because I really wanted to be a medical doctor. Yeah, but I found out later it wasn't me. It was what my parents had sold me as they're doing for me. So, I mean, in Nigeria, there is this gap here between when you finish high school, what we call secondary school this way, you call it high school, before you get into tertiary education, which we call university. So you have to write an exam before you get in. And in that gap here, my parents were like, you know what? How about you get busy and just go to this computer school and get busy with yourself. Don't stay around, and be idle. And that was a life-changing experience. And this is the reason why I've designed a lot of programs for women as well, because a lot of girls don't have access to technology and have never experienced and thought about it as a path, as an option for them to explore. And because they haven't, their interest isn't piqued. Because their interest isn't piqued, would have less and less women in tech in this part of the world. So that for me was my point of exposure. And I found that I enjoyed, like, my eyes, there was always sparkle in my eyes. I loved technology. I was like, no way, I needed to continue coding. It brought me so much joy. So what I did was, thankfully, my parents were, people that listened to me. I did a presentation with cardboards because I didn't have a computer. I couldn't afford one. So I did a presentation with cardboards and told my parents why I needed to go into tech. And the tech was, the career for the future, and it had disadvantages and it had disadvantages for me. Advantages, for us all. And they bought into it, and that was how I started off. I earned an advanced diploma in software engineering for start, and then I proceeded to do a master's in IT management. And that's exactly where I got into cybersecurity. So it's been a passion journey for me. I like to call it that, because it's literally me following my heartbeat and just going along and enjoying it the whole ride. I'm still enjoying it, and I can't imagine my life anywhere else. Like, I can't imagine myself anywhere else. It's been such a beautiful journey, and I always tell my parents, thank you for trusting me and for listening to me. I mean, this is not really Nigerian for a parent's mind to be changed from something that you've sold to your child for so long, and just listen and then pick, I call them brave, for letting me follow my heart and going in this path that gives me so much joy.
When you look back and you went there, when you your parents asked you to go to that course to keep your mind busy, were you the only female in the room, or did you notice other women? And how did the other girls take to it? Were they also interested in it, or did they lose appetite?
Okay, so I was one of two women, and to be very honest, we were always like, trying to support each other, because we had been told, from where we're coming from, that this was going to be a very tough ride, for us, because we're women. I didn't quite understand it then, but now I do better. I think our minds are already conditioned that tech is so difficult that women can't comprehend. And I find that that's very, very, that's a lie we've been sold so long that we're beginning to believe it's actually not true. I mean, if you're passionate about something, the chances that you put in the work to get to master it is very, very high. And so if women are truly passionate about anything, they can do anything. The woman's brain is as intelligent as a man's brain, So I mean, I'm looking back now and I'm seeing that a lot of my journey was very lonely, and it's still, to a good extent, still significantly lonely. And that's why I'm doing something about changing it. I'm raising girls across Africa that would have core technical skills and technology inclined skills, so that I'll walk into rooms and I'll see so many people like me, and it won't be one of two, one of three, among a sea of men. I really want to see more women taking up space in the tech industry, and I must really say that we've made some progress, but yeah, we can make more progress as well.
No, you're right, Confidence, because it's something even myself, when I think about tech or anything like that, it swallows me, keeps me shut. I just almost like I can't have that conversation because I'm like, I'm lost. I don't even know what to do. But there you are saying that it can be done. It's just the way our mindset has been there programmed to not see the potential and see the enjoyment of the whole technology, because it's also, you have to find the fun part. And sometimes even as women, when we even see our kids playing too many games, we get concerned. We're like, oh, why are you playing this men's sport? This is not really for a women's sector. But there you are, you've proved that it can be done and you can still be yourself. What joy have you found in navigating your career to this sector where you are and you're actually a big leader in this field? What joy have you found doing this?
I think it's the fulfillment that comes with it. Every single day I wake up, doing something that I'm passionate about and I truly enjoy. I think that makes it that makes for more ease with what I'm doing as well. And the fact that I can also feel different and special in the same way. And I don't know if you've looked at if anyone here looks at my Instagram, for example, I say I am unapologetically female, and I show it the way the colors, things I do, the way I look, everything. I'm fully in my feminine power, but in that feminine power as well, I'm able to feel fulfilled doing what I love in tech as well. So yeah, it's very fulfilling.
When you look at the job itself, there's so much breaches in cybersecurity. It's one of the toughest things right now because so many places and so many parts of the world don't understand it. You're on a continent in Africa and you're based in Nigeria, Lagos, for example. In Nigeria right now, I still remember internet was still being when the United Kingdom was far advanced, we were still not quite sure how to embrace it, especially with the older generation, not quite sure about utilizing the bank account, utilizing the banks to keep their money. Would it be safe? Can they do online banking? And a lot of them felt very safe just keeping it where it is. They didn't want to join that new market. Mm-hmm. You are in that cybersecurity. So how are you coaching not just the women, but also the older crowd who really don't understand the dangers and the joys of this internet world? How do you coach them to feel comfortable again into using the internet?
Okay, so I believe very strongly in the power of stories. I mean, and I think that's what we both share in common. One of the things we both share in common. And we're using a lot of storytelling to teach older citizens about online safety. We recently launched a toolkit that I have described very often as Africa's first truly Pan-African cybersecurity awareness handbook for seniors. And what we've done with this toolkit is we've designed it in several languages at the moment. We're adding 2 more languages. So we have it in 3 indigenous Nigerian languages, in Pidgin English that's spoken by the average layperson on the streets of Nigeria, in good English, which is spoken by a lot of Africans. We have it in French, and we have it in Swahili as well. So in quite a lot of languages, we're adding on Arabic and Zulu very soon. So all of this has also been, the content of the toolkit has also been, designed in such a way that different parts of Africa can still find, a lot of content in it that, they can take and use, in their different parts of Africa. So we're using storytelling a lot to teach about online safety for elders, because again, they have to visualize they're coming into this tech world using digital maybe for the first time. They are not natives like a lot of people that are younger. And so storytelling is what we've been using very often. But in the very, very near future, working on more video content that can be interesting and intriguing and then very educative as well for seniors. So we believe that that could unlock a new level of awareness and digital safety literacy for senior citizens. And that's why languages is such a strong thing for us when we're dealing with older people, is because language can be a barrier. Yes, a lot of seniors, for example, may not be speaking English, but need to know how to be safe online. By giving them this toolkit in other languages, we are breaking that barrier, because if you speak Igbo, we have a toolkit in Igbo that you can use. If you speak Swahili and you don't speak English, we would have that as well for you. Because before now, we have quite a lot of content, a lot of things for seniors, a lot of cybersecurity awareness content, but a lot of it is, high level, using jargon, and a lot of it is in English as well. So what we have done is we have been able to a large extent, simplify things for them, use stories a lot, use illustrations a lot, and then of course in many languages. And there are more strategies to come. But again, we know that because senior citizens are very vulnerable, we have to protect them.
Absolutely. So what are some of the pains you had to endure to start this business? Because obviously it's not something that just you're not just running a foundation, you are running a business where you have to every day think of new ideas, better ways to protect them, especially in today's world. Today's world is really a scary world in the sense that we're all using it. But at the same time, most of us don't even know what we're getting ourselves into. We don't even know how deep. What are some of those? What are some of these things that you've understood to be threats to the modern world?
Okay, so I'm going to share a personal story. My mother is a strong inspiration behind starting this off. My mother was a victim of cybercrime, and when I saw, I would say firsthand, because again, I wasn't the one, I saw being really close to her, seeing the impact of this for her. I just knew that I wanted to make sure that fewer and fewer people get to ever experience this. And so I will start first with the threat she experienced, which in very technical terms is called social engineering. It's not a group of engineers that are social. It's literally, it means deception. So cyber criminals are using deception over email, over phone calls, over text messages to defraud people of their hard-earned monies. And unlike every other kind of threat in cybersecurity, this particular kind of threat is very effective because it really tugs on the human element, the things that make us human, and exploit those human elements. And because of that, there is no one software we can install to protect ourselves. The one software we can install to protect ourselves is awareness. Just knowing how these things happen, and because of that knowledge, we're being alert and being able to tell that this is calm. And so that is the number one threat faced in Africa, and I dare say in most parts of the world. We have quite a lot of social engineering attacks, or let's say a lot of deception. Let me use the technical term. A lot of deception that's leading to loss. And I also say that there's a lot of password, guessing that happens, and causes people to lose accounts or to lose access to, or have cyber criminals have access to unauthorized access to systems. So we have that as also an issue where people choose weak passwords or have default passwords, and then the cyber criminal gets in and causes a lot of havoc. I've had several experiences. I mean, there's some people, for example, their livelihood is hinged on their Instagram accounts. That's where they have their showcase. That's where they sell their goods and services. That's where the customers come to them through. And then imagine if somebody hacks into their Instagram account. Well, for some people, Instagram is just very casual. You come and say hi, see what's happening in Mr. B's house and Mrs. B's house. Instagram for some people is a place for commerce for these people. And so imagine if that kind of person who has garnered a lot of followers, who is doing, selling their products and services there, gets to lose it. It takes a big hit on the person's finances, the person's mental health. I mean, you can name it. The pain is very, very strong. And that's why I am very committed as well to really driving awareness. What are the things people can do to stay safer and to protect themselves? And you think about it, half the time, the very simple things, half the time, there are things that don't cost us a lot of money, but we're not aware. So we do not do those things that are extra. So these are some of the threats. I could go into more of them, but we also have that people are using unlicensed software that is giving the bad guys access to people's computers. So those are some of the things that are happening. We have a lot of opportunity scams as well going on here. So investment scams, travel abroad scams, work abroad scams, the whole works. So we have there quite a lot here. We have a lot of extortion, that happens as well here. So there are quite a number of threats, but these are a few I'd like to mention here.
That's truly unbelievable, because we do our daily chore, we do our daily work. We don't really think about all the different things and what we should prevent and what we should do. And people like you are always there to protect us, which is something I love about your work, because it's more than ever needed in today's world. So, you do a lot of work in this cyber security workshop in various African countries. So you do just say, I'm doing this and I'm stopping in Nigeria. You extended this far and beyond. How do you see the youth in the continents embracing the tech culture?
I think the youth are very, very open to technology and embracing it. And it's now would I say on trend to be tech, with tech to be tech inclined and to have tech skills. However, there is also issues around access. So how do people who want to gain these skills, how do they gain them? There are barriers that poverty, for example, is putting. There are extra barriers even for women. I tell you what, we currently are running a program that is funded by the UK government, for example, and we're upskilling and giving digital skills to 2,000 plus women across Nigeria. And the testimonials we're hearing are just really tear-jerking. And then for some of them, it's like, oh, I really wanted to gain digital skills, but it's so expensive, I can't afford it. And so this opportunity has given me the opportunity to learn this skill for free. So you have the poverty layer there that is stopping a lot of young people, and even a stronger poverty barrier for women and girls. And so while the young people are really embracing and are open to taking on tech and enjoying tech and venturing into the tech world and getting the skills that are required to navigate this world, there's also poverty issues. There's infrastructure issues. A lot of people can't afford a computer, a laptop, so those are the issues. Some of them can't afford a smartphone, because a smartphone is a lot of people have access to smartphones, and some don't have access to computers. While there's even a bigger number of people that don't even have access to those smartphones, because usually it's they get into the tech world from the smartphones, and then they can then venture into buying a laptop, but you still find that there are a lot of people, way more people that cannot afford those computing devices, but want to. So on those grounds, I would say yes, it's interesting for people. Young people want technology, they want to embrace technology, but they're lacking the skills and access to gaining those skills that will enable them make the best out of technology.
And when we started the conversation, Confidence, one of the things I asked you is about the infrastructure in Africa, especially in Nigeria right now. When you think of the continent, or Nigeria in particular, we think about big oil and gas, you think about the financial sector, you think about money pouring into all these different areas of consumer goods as well, but you don't really think about tech. What infrastructure is really needed to really support the advancement of technology, people understanding, people getting access to it, people embracing it? Because I think it's almost like we live in a world right now where, whether we like it or not, this is the future, and we all have to embrace it somehow. So what would you say if you were to talk to our leaders, for example, in getting them to understand the importance of this and the reason why more and more investment needs to be put into the sector?
I would say first and foremost, broadband access. There needs to be internet. There needs to be more access to the internet, because that opens up a new world for a lot of people. There are a lot of people in Nigeria who do not have access to the internet, and it's crazy. But there are a lot of people who are living in places in Nigeria and parts of Africa, generally speaking, who can make a phone call. So that's where we are. We still are. So when the rest of the world is talking about 5G, we're chuckling because we haven't even really expressed, 4G in the fullness of it and the speed that the rest of the world had before they progressed to 5G. A lot of people can't, like I said, make phone calls. A lot of people have to climb really high, really high portions of, the surroundings to be able to make a phone call. It's that bad in some places. So for me, I'd really like for broadband access not to be an urban thing. It shouldn't be an urbanization thing. So where you have great broadband access in very urban cities like Lagos, for example, or Abuja, what happens to other people in, really far north areas? What happens to other people in far south or far east, and many other parts of Africa? So I believe that we need to champion we need to champion broadband penetration. That's the word. We need to champion broadband penetration across all parts of Africa, because when we have access to the internet, young people can then have what they need to access the rest of the world and unlock opportunities for themselves globally. And that's exactly what I believe can be the level out. That's what I think can unlock new levels of wealth, for the young person in Africa. Another key thing is we need the policies that will drive development and will prioritize the digital economy, and will reward people who do the right things in the digital economy. So those policies are very, very necessary. We still have things in the way of even organizations that want to do work and even help with penetration, broadband penetration. The things are around right of way, for example. If I want to lay some cables across different states in Nigeria, or let me start with Nigeria, for example. The levels to approvals are not necessary, ask me. And so it becomes burdening to even help people get access. So we need to put in policies in place. We need to have this roadmap and we implement that roadmap very well, that enables people to have access to technology from these different levels that I've spoken about, but strongly not as an urban thing only, but something that everyone in rural, semi-urban areas can have access to. And that way we can be truly prosperous.
That's true. And that will be, that will save us a lot. We'll become a continent that does so much, not just, rather just constantly dependent on international aid or whatever, but we'll become a country that can empower our individual citizens. Well,
Exactly.
Congratulations, Confident, because you've won numerous awards. You won the Woman of the Year Cybersecurity Award. What was it like to be recognized for your work?
It was surreal. I do the work I do, not for the awards, but just knowing that someone is watching and someone is saying, well done, I think it's very stimulating. It's very, very empowering. It's also very encouraging. It's a pat on the back that I think would stay anyone in the world. And for me, it's when I receive an award, it's a call to do more. I don't know if anyone sees it in that light, but every time I receive an award, it's like, okay, so we have to do more. This is a call to do more. And so that is exactly how I see them. But it felt really, really good to be recognized and to be celebrated.
Your hashtag, no go for mega. That is from one of your handbook which you've authored. So can you tell us a little bit about it? Why you did this? Your key messages. What were you trying to get out for other people to understand?
Okay, so no go for mega is a hashtag that was. I think I'll break it down so people understand and have some context around it. We wanted something for that, sort of like people across different socioeconomic classes can relate to. And the word MAGA is that word. MAGA is a derogatory term that is used to describe people that fall for deceptive scams. And so what we're saying with the hashtag is don't become a victim of cybercrime. So loosely translating it, that's exactly what it means. And so what we have done with the handbook is we have used different scenarios, stories again, to tell people and to point them to actions or inactions that led people to become victims of cybercrime, as a way of educating people and saying, don't be their next victim. So that's what no go for bagger really means, is don't be a victim of cybercrime.
So, one of the things you started to tell me is about the engagement. You engage your community through storytelling, because if you find that way, how do you engage your audience on topic most people pay little attention to? Because there's some topics that, you're telling me this, I'm like, oh gosh, not again. This is not something I want to know. But you within yourself as a cyber security expert, this is something that we need to pay attention. We need to understand. How do you engage your audience on that?
I would say fun, making it fun, engaging them by with my creativity. So let me give you an example. I wanted to teach people about how pirated software could be harmful, especially pirated antiviruses. Now, this is such a big topic to talk about, because some people might go on, have a workshop, talk formally for a long time. But you know what I did? I jumped on the trend. I did an Instagram reel. So I simply stood by my kitchen sink and I held a filter, trying to fetch water with a filter. And I said, that's exactly how you're protecting yourself. So as much water as a filter can hold is as much water as your pirated software can actually protect you from, viruses or any kind of malware. So for me, I use a lot of analogies, a lot of fun ways to communicate things. I engage my creative ability to be able to communicate things in a way that some people may find, very humorous, and they laugh, and while laughing, they get the message and they take an action, or while being intrigued by it, they take an action, So for me, it's that creative interpretation and making sure people can see themselves in certain situations that helps them, take the actions that are necessary. So it's that creativity that makes things very simplified and again relatable, because again, I know what the issues are. So and then because I know what the issues are and I know how people can be better protected, I am then able to communicate it, in a very creative and fun and engaging way.
Confidence, before I let you go, I need to ask you the final question. You're a woman and you're going into this, you're in this tech space, which is absolutely difficult for a lot of women. They look out and they don't want to do it. What is your hope out there to improve cybersecurity in Africa and to get more women on board?
I think that my hope is very strong because it's been indicative in, for example, my success so far with getting girls in. So as women, you most likely have, reached a level, some sort of maturity. Your mind is a bit formed to a very large extent. You have very real barriers to taking on something new. But you see, girls are still in the phase of life where they can take on new things. Their minds are slightly more open and are more impressionable. And so my hope to getting more women in tech is getting more girls in tech. Because when we go upstream and invest in girls, yes, down the line, we can find that those girls will become women, and those girls will become women in tech. And so for me, my focus is on getting girls across Africa to venture into experiencing and exploring tech, and to experiencing by experiencing, I mean, just say, does this work for me? And just that exposure to it might show them that, oh wow, this is interesting, I want to be here. Or might say, you know what, I can't do this. But they would have had experienced it and I would have known this is an option to explore. And so my hope is in getting more girls, down the line to become women in tech.
Well, thank you so much. I really wish you all the best with this
Thank
amazing work
you so
you're doing.
much.
You're shining a light in such a difficult area. It's a difficult space, but you've shown us that we should take out that word difficult and just enjoy it and do what we love doing. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you so much, Anne. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you so much.